At one point in time, a wise old monk came to the village and called the young man over. "My son," said, "the muck, I have a task for you. I want you to climb to the top of that mountain and bring back a single feather from the highest peak." The young man laughed, looking up at the mountain and saying, "That's impossible." The other villagers knew the young man for his laziness, as he would spend his days napping and daydreaming while the others toiled away in the fields and workshops. The young man was intrigued by the monk's challenge because he had never heard of this feather before, and the idea of such a challenging task piqued his curiosity. He said, "I'm far too lazy to climb all the way up there." The monk smiled and said, "Ah, but you see, the feather I seek is on the other side of the mountain in a cave that can only be reached by climbing to the top and descending the other side." The young man started to feel out of breath and to perspire a lot throughout the long and difficult climb, but as he ascended farther and higher, he started to experience a sensation of the real challenge lay ahead for the young man, who had to descend the other side of the mountain and locate the cave where the feather was rumored to be. He was exhausted but elated as he finally reached the summit, gazing out at the breathtaking view and feeling a sense of accomplishment that he had never experienced before. The young guy struggled and fell numerous times throughout the hazardous descent, but he persisted because he was motivated by the thought of the feather that awaited him. When he eventually arrived at the cave, he noticed the feather resting there, shining in the light that crept in from the entrance. The young man picked up the feather and was struck by its beauty, but he soon realized that he had a problem. How was he going to climb back up the mountain and give the feather back to the monk? For a brief moment, he thought about giving up, but then he recalled the pride and sense of accomplishment he had felt upon reaching the summit. He knew he had the strength and determination to do it again. So he climbed back up the mountain, his muscles hurting and his lungs burning, but he persevered, motivated by the knowledge that he had overcome his own laziness and the muck, and gave him the feather. The monk grinned and said, "Well done, my son. You have learned an important lesson today. Laziness is not something to be accepted or tolerated. It is a challenge to be overcome. Laziness has held you back. Now that you know that you have the strength and determination to overcome any obstacle that lies in your path," the young man nodded, realizing the wisdom of the monk's words. Be leaped over when we challenge ourselves and set ambitious goals, no matter how difficult they may seem. We must push ourselves beyond our limits and persevere even when we feel like giving up. When we do this, we find a strength and resilience within ourselves that we never knew existed. In order to overcome setbacks and hurdles, we also need to develop consistency and discipline in our daily routines and habits. By creating and adhering to a plan, we may create positive habits that support our ability to focus and be productive even when we don't feel like it. Developing a growth mindset is another crucial component of beating laziness. This entails redefining obstacles and setbacks as chances for learning and development rather than as justifications for giving up. By doing this, we can change the way we perceive failure and turn it into a driving force for advancement. In the end, being willing to leave our comfort zone and seize the chances and challenges that lie ahead is what it takes to overcome lethargy.